So this is where we are. Here is the bearing that came out. And this is the dry one. I've soaked it in old motor oil, so it's sounds a little better. Anyway, the numbers on this bearing are 204RR6, and it's made by Fafner. And this mower, where's the mower? It's a John Deere 160, and check out, see my hearing protection? I wore green. Other people have headlights. I don't have headlights. I got a new switch. It's supposed to be made in USA. It did come labeled that way, but the ad said USA. Can you see from there? Let me move you. It'll be safer for you guys up here. Where are we going? What do you think? Take a listen. They don't sound all that bad yet. Maybe it's not those. Always work with just one jack and no safety things. Maybe it's one of these guys. Maybe it's this one. It's funny, once you know that changing these bearings is not that hard, then you don't want to put up with the noise. Can't tell. I suppose there's a bearing on top of the transaxle. Let's do this. Let's just look at the deck. If it's not the deck, we'll let whatever here is making noise just break. Fix it then. It's not like I'm going to use this thing a lot. It's a lawn tractor. They're too slow. Okay, I think we got it. So, first off, this tensioner, I would call that pretty quiet. Ever seen where, so the bearings in there, but they're not designed to be replaceable. So people grind off these rivets, slip in a new bearing, and then just use a nut and bolt. Clever. This one, excuse me a second. Ote belt. Oh God, my friends are here. That sounds, well, it doesn't sound. That's not our culprit. I'm thinking this one's probably making a racket. Let's start with that, but I think we found it over here. Hear that? Compare that to this one. That's our noise maker. I'm gonna try these two. Let the rest eat. As it turns out, I said off. As it turns out, I took this deck off in about, I'd say 5 minutes, not even 10 minutes, with no tools. So I'm not too worried about it. Putting it back is a touch harder, but not much. There's our culprit for sure. 1 1/8 inch nut. I used a chrome socket on an electric impact. Then I had to tap it. This came to me in some a box of just random tools. I noticed someone had been using it for a brass punch. I'm not at the garage, I'm at home, so I don't really have tools here except for, it's a nice tangent, right? All the yard sale stuff. There's a huge collection of yard sale stuff, so I've been doing repairs with all those tools. I have another set of tools now. I've got the traveling set, the garage set, storage set, and now I got tools at home. So then, this that did fight me a little bit to get it that far, so don't believe it was that easy. But it wasn't out of the ordinary hard. That fell off. And this fell out. That bearing's quiet. And the grease fitting has been greasing this. So where then is our noise? Stay. That's our noise. And it doesn't look like grease gets to that bearing. I called Danny and I said, Danny, the shirt you gave me a few years ago, I'm not gonna wear it anymore. I gotta stop working all the time, and I gotta stop wearing work clothes 7 days a week. I'm looking like such a bum. Who would think such a good looking person wears bum clothes? So this, I got this in Tampa. But see the collar? I mean, there weren't any stains on it. I took care of it. But Danny's response was, "What shirt?" Not the orange shirt. He gave me an orange shirt. I don't remember. Maybe it was from work. I said, "Got another one. It's on me now. It's pink something. Pink And he goes, oh, we do stuff like that all the time for like causes and awareness and things like that. I said, well, that shirt's still working. Here's our problem. Listen, can you hear it? Maybe if I stop talking. So it appears that the lower bearing, notice this is gonna collapse on us. This has been getting plenty of grease. It moves nice and quiet, and gravity will do that. I'm gonna pop the other bearing out. Let me make noise. When the noise is done, I'll call you back. Okay, here's where we are. This is pretty interesting. Here's our bearing. And I put a little old motor oil on there, so it's a little quieter. But the bearing number, it's made by Fafner. And there's something interesting about this. It's a 204RR6. And it also has an E8728. Well, what's interesting is I met someone that was born in '87, and this has nothing to do with the mower. I thought that's cool. And then when I got this mower a few weeks ago, I thought, hey, this looks like a 1987. Turns out the serial number ends with 87, but it's in 1988. So going back to the Fafner bearing here, the other number, it's E8728 on there. And I wonder if it was simply made in 1987. Because the bearing, when I looked it up, there's a bunch of people selling them. The 204RR6 is the one they use. And they give you dimensions. I'll show you some ads. But I had an idea. And by the way, I'm keeping this bearing. I think I knew someone that worked at Fafner back then. I don't know. Pretty sure though. I'm keeping made in USA. The Chinese, they're happy to sell you these things for like 20 bucks for the pair. You can even get a set of 6, I think, for 20 bucks. Well, we'll look at the ads later. But my theory is, over the years, this grease, when it gets hot, it was falling into this bearing, because they have these metal caps. If they were rubber, we could take them off, but the metal caps probably keep the bearing together. I'm not gonna fuss with that. But what if I were to take the dry bearing and put it in place of the nicely lubed bearing? The grease would warm up and kind of melt into this thing, as it did for this one. So that's what I was doing. I was tapping this away. It's the wrong way to take a bearing out, but I tapped and pried. When I put it in there, I'd strike it here. I just wanted to try. Like I said, I knew someone that worked in Fafner. So I'm keeping these bearings. And I might end up keeping this mower. Oh, did you notice? So I got a funny story for you. I'm wearing green. You know, it's green mower. I got orange for the Husqvarnas. I've got reds. I've got some gray, even using porter cable tools. But one day, I couldn't find any of my ear muffs or whatever they're called. And I had to cut the grass, right? So I grabbed a regular push mower. It was a little gray Honda. No power or anything, just your basic blade spins, cuts grass. And I didn't have anything to wear. Well, I had a still, I think it's a still, it's a helmet and and headphones, like all together. So I'm cutting the grass, and I got this hard hat on with the headphones, and I'm just doing fine, and along comes a truckload of landscapers. And they started laughing like, Oh, mira al gringo loco. So he hears this guy walking with a little tiny push mower wearing a hard hat and professional ear protection. It also had a face mask. That's the one I use with the chipper. Gotta have face mask, right? Let me get this back together and we'll see how it works. My bearing theory. So this is the top bearing that was not well lubricated. I put some used engine oil, soaked it in used engine oil, and switched places with the bottom bearing, which was well lubricated. So now that's going to go back in place, and we'll put the top bearing in over here, tighten it up, and give it a spin. I saw this mower on the street for free, so I rolled it home. I noticed it didn't have a key, and I was gonna use one of my old key switches, but they're wired a little differently, and I then found a made in USA for less than $20, and I went ahead and bought that. Once I put a battery to it, the engine started turning right away. Someone had taken and replaced the solenoid and then wired it backwards. So I corrected that, and I thought this is going to be perfect for the Scouts. The Scouts need to cut grass in the spring. And then I noticed all the safety switches were gone. How many of them? All of them. So this thing has no safeties on it whatsoever. My thinking was, well, I'll put them all back little by little. And then I realized, you know, that's not worth the time. I have other mowers that if I just start them up, they can go and they're ready. I noticed that this thing was kind of built well. So I might just hold on to it, and in time I'll get my safety switches for it, but I won't have to hurry, and it won't disturb all the other things I'm supposed to be doing. There was nothing left to do but ride off into the setting sun. We didn't know if we'd ever see the stranger again. He had gone just as fast as he had come. Nah, that's not it. It's gotta be a little different. I know. How about this? How would he ever be able to give his heart to another female? The prairie. Only the prairie held his heart. That could be it. I don't know how to end this. Maybe I should listen to Neil at YouTube. He keeps sending me notes saying, we don't care how you end your videos, just end them. The sooner the better. He's got a point. Hey, you know what though? I can't take this to Vermont, but let me show you something else I took to the Scouts. Yeah, in the next video. If you have a little bit of time, I think you'll get a kick out of it, especially the end. Thanks, yeah. The next video, right away. Thanks.